Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is July the 31st, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Wednesday treated me pretty well. I wouldn't say it was busy, wouldn't say it was like super slow, just kind of stayed on it. So that was nice. Also, it was ice cream day in a weird, I don't want to say synchronicity, because I'm sure, like, in a way, these are kind of annually planned, probably just about. But, like, I had a flashback memory on my Facebook about how I was eating ice cream 4 years ago. And then someone came up to me and was like, ice cream day. And I was like, of course it is. So I love that for me. I got the, have I ever said my ice cream order? I'm sure I have. But at least when the cone comes, when they're catering, I get the chocolate vanilla in a cone, or chocolate vanilla ice cream cone in a cup. That's what I get. I used to get that with sprinkles, but now I kind of realize that I don't love the taste of sprinkles. So I just kind of get it without now. I feel better about that. Let's see here. Also, I got some free food on the way out. They had like this like random little trough of like Jimmy John's leftovers, because I guess we got some new hires or something, and like we'll feed them Jimmy John's, and like certain people can get them, like little supervisors or what have you. But then any of the scraps are left, and like every once in a while you can just kind of get them. So I guess I got lucky, and there was like a little veggie sandwich and some chips and a cookie, and I snagged it all up and I got out of there. So yeah, yay me. Love that. Let's see, but what was the food corner? What was the actual food corner from last night? I had pasta bolognese. It was pretty good. It was a classic, with the bread, with the bolillo roll, and the bagel, and the big salad. Everything came together. Mwah, chef's kiss. I heard they put that in like a dictionary or something, so that's pretty fun. Love that. Love when the new hip buzzwords get on, they get official. All right, let's see here. I'm not gonna blog as much as I did yesterday. Let's not do that. Let me go ahead and do the startup and go ahead and get into some news. I will say it was cloudy with some rain, so there was that. Oh, random news aside, I think like a black journalist like caucus or something. I'm sure I'm getting it wrong. This is a little bit of like random side news, and I'm probably not going to cover it. I'm just covering it now. But like Trump went to go get like interviewed by them, or like have a sit down talk and like do a Q&A more or less. And he proceeded to like say some shit like Kamala, it like pretty much isn't black, and she's just like switched into that, like she just changed roles. It's like, oh god, dude, which is actually crazy, because I've had people say that to me when I've described Kamala Harris as black like years back, and I remember being like, look, I know I'm a dummy, but like I'm pretty sure she is black. And I remember looking it up. It's like, yeah, dog, she's Indian and she's black. Like you can be both. That's okay, whatever. Anyway, he said some other shit too. The black jobs got mentioned again, and he went to explain that. Love that. It's so good. And then the reason Kamala Harris didn't go was, once again, scheduling conflict. But she said she wanted to do a virtual meeting, and they're like, nah, we'll just take Trump. So yeah, a little bit of side news starting it off, actually. But that's not blogging, so that doesn't count anyway. Anyway, let's get to the meat. From the Associated Press. Hamas's top political leader is killed in Iran in strike that risks triggering all out regional war. Man, there they go again, using that fucking phrase again. All out war. They love pushing that. And then meanwhile, you have the politicians and like political figures and stuff. Actually, it's not that bad. It's okay. Like things are all right. We're not. It doesn't actually look like an all out war situation. Okay. Hamas's top political leader was killed Wednesday by a pre-dawn airstrike in the Iranian capital, Iran. And the militant group said, blaming Israel for a shock assassination that risked escalating into an all-out regional war. Iran's supreme leader vowed revenge against Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel will exact a very heavy price from any aggression against us on any front, but did not mention the killing. There are challenging days ahead. Now, this was Ismail Haniyeh. I'm sure I'm getting that name wrong, as I often do. But essentially, they're like, oh, this guy was involved in planning October 7th. Like, you know, we're going to get him. And I often find myself feeling like whenever I'm seeing like the IDF or Mossad, whoever, they're doing these targets on these like these commanders, these leaders, and it gives me a lot of like the vibes of like post 9/11 when like we had the bicycle cards of like all the terrorists who were involved in 9/11, and it just feels like eerily similar to that, where it's like in some kind of way we're like making this like an objective based thing that you're following along as like a citizen, and like you can feel good every time we get one of these people because it's like we're getting like a little bit more revenge. But it's like that's not doing anything. That's not actually providing any more safety to you. In fact, it's actually making this worse because essentially you're just doing tit for tat and then keep coming back to that excuse, that reason for like, well, October 7th happened. Like October 7th happened. So that's why we're going to keep doing drone strikes, missile strikes, whatever. This was a missile strike. Also, a crazy thing that I'm thinking about is that they tracked him like all the way here. They knew he was there. He was like celebrating the new Iranian president, Pezeshkian. I'm sure I'm getting that fucking wrong, even though we've covered him. But they had Haniyeh, they had his whole itinerary. They were like, we could have got you when you were talking with the Ayatollah. We could have got you hugging up with Prizken. But we got you when you got home and you were nice and settled. That's when we blew your ass up. So it's definitely like, oh, a precision strike. It's a measured show of force. It's like, yeah, you're showing that you can hit these motherfuckers anywhere and everywhere. And this comes right after the Beirut assassination. So, I mean, it really is pushing that envelope of like, you know, is there going to be some kind of retaliation that's going to push this all over the edge? And then like, we're just... Once again, we're going all out. We're crashing out, so to speak. I mean, once again, I'm still hopefully, I guess, speculating that that's not the case. But, I mean, of course, we never know. In a statement on his official website, Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said revenge was our duty and that Israel had prepared a harsh punishment for itself by killing a dear guest in our home. Like, obviously, yes, that's very respectful. Like, this was a person who's supposed to be a protected person here. And you're like, I mean, hey, we didn't hit any of yours. Like, we just hit the guy that was, like, you know, who did shit to us, is essentially, I guess, the defense there. Of course, the U.S. is like, on this one, hey, we didn't help out with this. We didn't prep about this. We're surprised as everybody. They're very hands-off on this one. But yeah, I mean, but if this happened, if this was anyone else, and I know I'm kind of just definitely just off book here, but if this was not our ally, we would be fucking livid. We would be fucking trying to throw these motherfuckers in the Hague or something. But like, nope, it's our guy. It's our buddy. Trying to think, is there anything else I really wanted to pull from here? I believe the bodyguard was also killed. Let's kind of go through some reiterations that we've already covered this week. So yeah, let's go ahead and move along. Let's do an update on Venezuela. I know I covered that so well last time. From Reuters, Venezuelans protest as observers say presidential vote undemocratic. Protesters took to the streets across Venezuela on Tuesday, demanding that President Nicolas Maduro acknowledge he lost Sunday's election to the opposition, as a major international observer concluded the vote was undemocratic. The protests, which the government announced as an attempted coup, began on Monday after the South American country's electoral authority declared that Maduro had won a third term with 51% of the votes to extend a quarter century of socialist rule. The opposition, which considers the election body to be in the pocket of a dictatorial government, says its candidate, Edmundo Gonzalez, had more than twice as many votes as Maduro based on the 90% of the vote tallies it has been able to access. Now, this is where, we get into the update, a sad update, unfortunately. At least 11 people have been killed in different parts of the country since the election in incidents related to the count or associated protests, according to rights group Foro Penal. The U.S. based center, or the U.S. based Carter Center, which observed the vote, said in a statement late on Tuesday the election did not meet international standards or electoral integrity and cannot be considered democratic. The electoral authorities' failure to publish disintegrated results amounts to a serious breach, it added, outlining what it determined to be a deeply flawed process from the start. Essentially, this is just everyone kind of minding P's and Q's and saying, hey, Maduro's election wasn't valid. We don't see him as valid, which is something they've been kind of saying since like 2018. I'm not surprised about that. But obviously, I'm really sad to see what's happening to the people. As I like cover this and think about this shit, on and off the pod, I think about Argentina a lot. And I think like, damn, like once again, it was a bummer to see that guard change, especially it changed to something like Javier Milei. But I do understand that has a lot to do with just the government letting the people down for so long. And they tried and tried and tried. And it doesn't make a difference who you are. At the end of the day, if you're failing the people, or if the people aren't feeling like you're making the mandate for them, then they're going to have to get rid of you. And they're going to sometimes take whatever option, whether it's good or bad, whatever, So yeah, I mean, it's just definitely a sad ass fucking situation, but I definitely want to keep everyone posted as best I can. Let's see here. Also, a little bit more context I kind of wanted to add because I didn't add it before. On Tuesday, both Maduro and his top legislative ally accused Gonzalez and opposition leader Maria Corina Machado of fomenting violence in the aftermath of the vote. And essentially, Maria Corina Machado is kind of like the head candidate before Maduro went out of his way to axe her, make sure that she could not legally run. So she backed another candidate, which was Gonzalez. And Gonzalez was more or less looking like he was going to win before, the voting kind of just doesn't look like it mattered. I still maintain, once again, if you just change the names of the country, I feel like this does make it different. Not to excuse what Maduro is doing, but if we're talking Turkey and we're talking Erdogan, because we've covered that presidential fucking shit, maybe not as bad or as fucking, corrupt or fucked up, but definitely it's like, hey, this shit was rigged from the start. There was no way that Erdogan was really gonna lose. Yet, do we have a problem with that as Americans from the West? No, no one does. None of the Western countries. They all say, nope, that's the president. We have no problems with that. We don't need to see the tallies. We're not going to fucking double check, triple check. Now, I mean, maybe they do have all their P's and Q's in order. They didn't have to be as loose. And once again, I'm not admonishing or whatever, excusing anyone's fucking behavior. At the end of the day, I'm talking about a slew of bad guys here. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next beat. Try to keep it moving, keep it bouncing. Not that we're moving any good news. I don't really like this story. From Chicago Sun-Times. City lawyers say Dexter Reed was stopped by Chicago cops over tinted windows, contradicting earlier claim. You're telling me cops are lying? In the year of our Lord, 2024, they're lying? Wow, let's dig in. Lawyers for the city argue in a legal filing that Dexter Reed was pulled over for having illegally tinted windows before he was killed in a shootout with Chicago cops, contradicting the initial explanation given to police oversight officials. The lawyer's explanation for the deadly traffic stop was detailed in a court filing last week, urging a federal judge to toss out key portions of a lawsuit filed by Reed's mother after the March 21st gunfight in Humboldt Park. Andrea Kirsten, chief administrator of the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, or COPA, previously wrote an explosive memo informing Chicago Police, I believe Superintendent Larry Snelling, that COPA was told Reed was stopped because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Which you can kind of get into this quote here. COPA is uncertain how the officers could have seen this seatbelt violation given their location relative to Reed's vehicle and the dark tints on Reed's windows. Kirsten wrote on April 1st. No fooling. This evidence raises serious questions about the validity of the traffic stop that led to the officers' encounter with Reed. I think I wanted to kind of scan ahead because I think the lawyers kind of offer a defense about this, which is kind of crazy. Sorry, give me a second. I think I'm gonna be missing it. Bear with me. Here we go. This was, it just kind of rocked me a little bit. The lawyers argued the stop targeting Reed was constitutional because his tinted windows violated state law. An officer's subjective reasoning for conducting a traffic stop, even if based on race, does not violate the Fourth Amendment, the lawyer said. That's a crazy defense to me. It's like, no, it's actually okay. Like, that's actually all right. You know, if you're in the line of duty, you're back in the blue, it's okay to be a little racist. Yucky. They're filing also robust allegations that the officers in the Reed case violated the Illinois Civil Rights Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act. The lawyers argued that the officers had no way of knowing that Reed suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, and as his mother has claimed in her lawsuit. They noted that Reed's mother fails to describe how the condition was substantially limiting or to describe how briefly the severity of his PTSD. Police records indicate that Reed was in the throes of a mental health crisis when he attacked an uncle in August of 2021, leading the uncle to shoot him. Amid a series of lawsuits Reed filed after the shooting, Reed acknowledged that he had suffered from PTSD and schizophrenia. None of this, though, and even the fact that he has a gun, it's like, yes, he fired. There was an alter, like a gunfight between them. At the end of the day, though, they shot over 100 times. They erased this person off of the map, and the reason was because we want to pull you over. Like, you can argue it, but the idea is, it's like, if the reasoning fit, it wouldn't have changed. You wouldn't have found a different reason and jumped to that. But the idea is, you really can't fucking see a seatbelt. So you're just going to go, oh, let's talk about that illegal tint, though. And I'm sorry, this is me being anecdotal, but I've been pulled over. And I literally had a cop go, hey, man, did you put on your seatbelt when I pulled you? Like, no, motherfucker, you have a dash cam. You saw me. I've had the seatbelt on this whole time. Like, get real, dude. Like, I've never been more obstinate at a police officer. I'm usually pretty meek, mild, very sheepish because I'm not trying to get fucking blown away. But it also fucked me up, too, because this was like a black state trooper talking to me, trying to get me over a fucking, like, technicality over some shit. I am literally rocking a seatbelt, sir. And I know you know that because I'm card calling it and you don't. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. My bad. Like, yeah, dog, I had to reach over to get my fucking insurance. So I know you're going to fucking ask me. That moment just got etched into my brain. And I'm, like, literally hearing this now. And it's like, yeah, dude, like, I can understand how you have this defense, like, from Reed's family side of, like, you pulled my son over for a fucking quota. And you thought this was going to be an easy fucking mark. And, and it turned out this was a perfect guy, and you could just blow him away for it. Obviously, I know I'm kind of jumping here, but at the end of the day, that's what it feels like. That's what it looks like to me. So, it's an unfortunate story, but I wanted to get into it. Whew. Let's go ahead and move along, though. You know, I'm trying to keep it short and sweet, okay? I'm trying not to let it linger. I have one more thing. Yes, from USA Today. I'm going to take my last break, though. How's that sound? Hopefully good. You can't stop me. Ooh. Okay. Oh, this is also random, but I've been hearing people mad about the opening ceremony at the Olympics. I didn't really cover that. I watched like a small chunk of it, and now I've just seen clips, and it's like apparently there was like this like reenactment of like the Last Supper. And people were just so bent out of shape about it because, like, oh, you have, like, multiple gods and, like, a diverse group of people. This doesn't look what it looked like at all. You guys are blaspheming. And, like, people are sending death threats to the performers and shit. It's just so whack, dude. It's so lame. And this is the Olympics. Like, based off of like the Greek tradition of motherfuckers coming up oiled up, butt ass naked, and probably fucking each other on the side. Like, what are you talking about, man? Like, don't worry about it. Your Christian values are safe at home, bro. Worry about us getting the medals. Worry about fucking Simone Biles. Just like, I know I'm probably getting her name wrong. Fuck it, but she was winning, bro. Like, worry about that, dude. We're getting these gold medals, okay? It's like the one time to like actually be USA, USA, and motherfuckers gotta be mad about some shit. It's so dumb. There's poop in the water, bro. Worry about that. I know we're now on Olympics talk. But I turned out I'm a dumbass. They do have like swimming areas indoors. It's not all in the poopy sand water. But they are trying to do, I guess, the triathlon and like I think a couple other events or whatever there. So, I mean, that's going, I guess, okay. I think I saw some clips. They might have been able to run it. But I don't know. Hopefully no one's getting fucking E. coli. Any fucking way. All right. I've been riffing. I've been rapping. Let's go ahead and get to this last story. From USA Today. Texas radio host Lover sentenced to life for role in bilking listeners for millions. Okay, fun fact, y'all. I love saying the word bilking. It's such a crazy word to use for like scamming people out of money. I feel like it's like another older world term. I don't know. I love it though. Bilking. I got bilked for billions. A Texas woman was sentenced Tuesday to life in prison for her role in a Ponzi scheme in which she helped a Christian radio host bilk elderly listeners out of millions of dollars, prosecutors said. So obviously that's fucked up. A jury found Deborah May Carter, 65, guilty on July 8th of money laundering following a 2-week trial, according to the Tarrant County Criminal District Attorney's Office. Prosecutors said Carter is the mistress of former Texas radio host William Neal Doc Gallagher. What a name you can trust. Who operated the Ponzi scheme. Gallagher, who called himself the Money Doctor, was sentenced in November 2021 to 3 life sentences and an additional 30 years in prison on charges including forgery, securing the execution of a document by deception, theft of property, and exploitation of the elderly. Now, I'm kind of surprised that both of them got such heavy-ass sentences. Like, at the end of the day, these motherfuckers are, like, in their 80s. Like, they're both very old. So, like, I kind of would initially thought, like, okay, like, you don't have to bury them under the jail. You can just give them, like, 20 years or whatever. Shit, even 10. They're probably not going to see the outside of a jail cell, right? I mean, granted, maybe good, not even with, like, good behavior. I don't know, but I guess when you look at just the level of scamming these motherfuckers were doing, like they were getting away with a lot of motherfuckers' money. And I mean, not to mention the type of people. We're talking elderly people in their retirement. The majority of his victims were elderly, and most were clients of Gallagher Financial Group, the Texas State Securities Board said. Federal and state authorities accused Gallagher and Carter of scamming over 170 people out of more than $31 million. Now, Gallagher was kind of the face. He was like the stringer. He would set everybody up. You're hearing about this guy and his good word and his good message about getting all this fucking money, and you want to like get this fucking guap. So you fucking give the money up, and it gets funneled through Gallagher into Carter, and Carter's the one who kind of does the magic. She's the one who makes the money disappear, except she wasn't making the money disappear well enough. They were able to track it, and they're like, yeah, we got you both. You guys are both going to jail forever. Prosecutors said Carter, I scrolled ahead too fast. Carter and Gallagher gained more than $31 million over 10 years, leaving more than 170 mostly retired victims in their wake, according to the Tarrant County Criminal District Attorney's Office. These were hard-earned retirement dollars, which got put into their account over and over again. Tarrant County Assistant District Attorney Lori Varnell said during the trial, according to an excerpt released by prosecutors. She is a blight on society. I mean, that's fair. True. Prosecutors said Carter laundered much of the money through rental homes, land, and fake charities. Authorities seized about $200,000 in gold and silver after it was found in her travel trailer. So, hiding it the old-fashioned way a little bit. During the sentencing hearing, victims detailed the impact of losing their investment money, according to the Tarrant County Criminal District Attorney's Office. And they talk about Brenda Wilkerson, who was 84, had lost money she and her now late husband inherited after investing with Gallagher. Obviously, that's a bummer. So I guess he's going to be paying off that money. I don't see how you're going to pay off money with like fucking prison work, but I mean, hey, I guess every little bit counts. Justice is served, I suppose. Once again, not that I'm rooting for these guys, you know, obviously it's really fucked up to be bilking people like this. But I just don't see what the purpose is of just giving such like just an intense sentence like that. But I mean, hey, that's how we do it in America, baby. But yeah, that's it. That's all I really have for today. Thanks for letting me talk. Add a couple of stories along the way. Why not? Let's see. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, you become a newsie today. Doing shout outs, first of the month. It's the first of the month tomorrow. Anyway, free ways to hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials you're on. And hopefully subscribe to the YouTube. Really helps out a lot. Leave a like, leave a comment. Sharing is caring. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.